if somebody's just found some extra time in the day, what's the first thing that you suggest for them to be doing?
I would encourage them to grab a journal, a print journal,
Uh-huh.
not an app. And if you don't have a journal, don't go out and buy one, get a piece of paper and just ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish in the next
Mhm.
6 months, the next year, the next 2 years, the next 4 years? Because you cannot decide where you want to go until you know, okay, I'm here. I want to go over here. What do I have to learn to go from A to B?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Your Lab Central. Today, I have with me Mark. So, Mark, would you like to tell our audience why they should be excited about this conversation today?
Well, we live in a world that is overwhelmed with virtually unlimited distractions. And I have this song in my heart, if you will, to help people to realize that there's life outside of distractions. The biggest one, obviously, being social media. But now AI is catching up there, distracting us as well. And so
Mhm.
I am just excited to share some tips with your audience on how we can tame this monster.
Okay, talking about distractions, right? I mean, I've had some very big troubles with the distractions in my life. I mean, putting them into different categories is one way to put it. But then again, uh, the first thing, if I could ask you, what is something everybody is getting wrong with distractions? I mean, is there a way that you can capitalize on the distractions in your life, or is it just that you have to be avoiding them all the time?
People seem to think that distractions are just one big pile when there's actually two piles.
Oh,
There's the distractions that you have control over, and there's the distractions you have no control over them. So let me
right.
explain this.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if my neighbor decides to let their dog out while I'm recording this episode with you, nothing I can do about it. I can't call
Yes.
the police on them. It is what it is. I can't control that.
Right.
But my dog, if my dog starts barking, my wife's in the other room, she can get the dog to be quiet. So we got to break down, is the distraction something within our control, like
Mhm.
social media, or not? Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes. Okay. But I just wanted to know, is it possible to capitalize on the distractions in your life? Or is it just that, yeah, you either control and not control and then just let them be?
That's a very interesting question. Can you capitalize on distractions? And my initial answer is no, because the definition of distracted is you're focused on doing something
That's right. Yeah.
and
That's right.
something takes your attention away.
Yeah.
So now you're not focusing on what you should be focusing on. Now you're like, oh, look, squirrel. So I don't think you can capitalize on it. I think distractions are going to be detriment, whether it's
That's right. Yeah.
a FedEx driver showing up at your house or maybe you get bad news from somebody. I think
Mhm.
distractions are negative. I can't imagine that a distraction can be capitalized.
Okay, so let's just talk about the elephants in the room, right? You mentioned social media and AI. Okay, so since you brought that up, it's a very favorite topic of mine. So let's get started with, I don't know, what do you prefer? You want to go with AI first? Because I've had a lot of conversations around social media being the monster that it is, and it will eat up all your time. But then nobody's ever talked about how AI can actually be a distraction. Everybody's talked about, okay, yeah, you can use it to your advantage, but then where is the idea that AI could actually be a distraction, other than the fact that it's not allowing you to use your own brain, right? Trying to get all the answers from it. But let's take it from your perspective first.
I think AI is a tool in your
That's right.
productivity
Yes.
toolbox. That's the way I look at it.
Yes.
So in my toolbox out in the garage, I have a hammer, pliers, screwdrivers, nails and screws.
Hmm.
But if I'm going to put a picture up, I may not get pliers. You got to use the right tool. And I think what I see people doing is they are using AI so much
Hmm.
that they're not using their brain.
Yeah.
They scour the internet for, oh, what's the best prompt I can use to get my work done, Well, maybe you could start with the work you already have, use your brain, and then use AI as a complement instead of solely relying on AI.
Yeah.
Because if you are always on AI, and there are so many apps out there now that use I couldn't even begin to name them all because there's new ones being birthed every day. People are using AI as
Yes.
therapists, as the bartender, whatever words you want to use, counselor, and
Yeah.
they're not, we are losing the ability to talk to other human beings because we just
Hmm.
pick up our phone and we just start talking to the app. And guess what? The AI is programmed to make you feel good. The
Yes.
app is not going to say, "Hey, you knucklehead, that's a stupid thing you did." It's going to make you feel good. And it's similar to social media, we get these dopamine hits. Oh, AI
Mm.
is great. Social media is great. And 2, 3, 4 hours down the road, we're like, "Oh, I haven't done anything today. I've been talking to my friend on AI, and that
Yeah.
is a distraction." And that's why I said earlier, I
Mhm.
think AI is catching up really quickly to
Mhm.
social media as the top two distractions in our world today.
Okay, now there's this thing that everybody has been talking about, the content that AI is generating, right? Since we're talking about AI being a distraction, there's also the part that AI is creating a lot of distraction across different content platforms, right? It could be AI generated videos or just conversations like this, fake conversations or real seeming conversations, and then full blogs. And I know people have written novels out of AI, right? They're just prompting their way writing a novel. So the actual value of content has fallen, right? The real human driven content that we used to love watching, right? Where real conversations used to happen, commenting and stuff like that. Where are you seeing this leading up to?
Well, are we AI? Are we real? We know we're real, but maybe
Yeah.
the listener doesn't know. The viewer doesn't
Yes.
know if we're real or AI. Here, let me tell you how I use AI.
Hmm.
So, I have been in the productivity space for many years, and I have over 1,350 episodes of my podcast. I've
Hmm.
got countless blog posts. So, what I use AI for is I go back and get an old episode of my podcast. I transcribe it, I feed it into AI. I'm like, okay, take out all the irrelevant, outdated information. Give me suggestions on how to make this current. And then I re record that episode or repost that blog,
Yeah.
new title, new content. But the thing is, it's my content. I'm feeding it into AI. And when it gives me the results, I actually read every word. Does it sound like me? Oh, I would never say that. What a
Mhm.
lot of people are doing, to your point, they just give AI a prompt, make me a blog post about A, B, and C. They just copy and paste it. Then people go, that doesn't sound like you.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. AI is a tool. Yes, have it rewrite blog posts, help it have it write. I've had it create books and ebooks for me, but I read it. I want to make sure it sounds like me. And I think
Hmm.
when it comes to AI, a lot of people have gotten lazy. They're just
Yes.
inputting a prompt, they're copying and pasting, and then people go, you know that this third paragraph on the fourth page, you're talking about, I don't know, you're talking about organic farming, and all of a sudden it talks about race cars. And you're
Yeah.
like, what? Yeah, did you even read this? And I see that a lot now. You see it in comments. People are using AI
Yeah.
for commenting on social media. And if people know you, they're like, you don't talk that way. So I just want to encourage people to keep AI as a tool. It's not the master of your life.
Okay, since you're coming from the productivity space, right? But then there are a lot of tools that call themselves content engines, right? They say that they will learn from your content and probably learn from your style of commenting, and then you just feed it a few prompts and then tell it to go through this post and comment it in a style that I would have commented. But then it's again AI, right? How do you do this balancing act?
Well, when I comment on people's posts, it's always me. I
Hmm.
don't put it in AI, it's always me. Unfortunately, AI is getting to the point now.
Mm-hmm.
that they know how you're going to respond and
Mm-hmm.
it can create a really good post. We're going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
I can just tell people I use AI to help me create content, but when I reply, whether it's to a DM or an email, text message, a comment, that's really me. I
Yeah.
don't have a team doing it because I want to have that relationship with people. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
sometimes on DMs, I'll send them a voice message. Now, AI, I know, can sample my voice and someone else can use it. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I am choosing not to live in a world where I'm paranoid. Is it AI? Is it not? That
Mhm.
takes too much brain power for me to deal with. So I'm just going to serve people the best way I can and let them determine if it's AI or really me. I can't, people are wasting so much time being concerned about AI. Is this an AI comment? Is this AI generated content? Did
Mhm.
it help you?
That's it.
Did the
Yeah.
content help you or was it a bunch of rubbish?
Mhm. Okay, now again, talking about AI and stuff. So there's this thing, right? It just struck me, right? Been in this productivity space for decades now. There was a time when people were not so well versed with AI tools. They probably had a couple of them on the internet out there trying to probably just do a few grammatical mistakes and corrections, right? So before all this came about, like a couple of years ago. Has your worldview changed? How, I mean, obviously tools have developed, right? Tools have changed a lot. But then, how has your method of suggesting people ways to improve productivity changed?
There are some core principles
Yeah.
of being more productive that have never changed
Hmm.
because they're what's known as evergreen.
Yeah.
So I'm really big in the productivity space now of talking about health and wellness. So
Hmm.
I refuse to work wall to wall. In other words, I don't go from interview to coaching a client to interview. I always give myself space between
Hmm.
those things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, what that is, I go outside in my backyard, regardless of the weather. I live in Houston, Texas, but if it's hot, if it's cold, I go outside, I put my bare feet on the ground, and I'm not on my phone. I'm just breathing in some fresh air.
Hmm.
I think that that is something everybody can do. It's
Yeah.
not all about technology. You need to,
Yes.
especially in this day and age, 2025, 2026, in the future, we need to get away from technology. I mean, I love technology. I love social media apps. I love
Mhm.
AI, but you need to get away from these things. You need to go talk to your neighbor like
Uh-huh.
in their front yard, not texting each other. I mean, actually eyeball to eyeball talking to each other. I think we're
Uh,
losing that because everyone's living through their phones, and I fear we're going to get to a point where we're all going to wear those goggles and we're all going to
uh-huh.
sit in our couches and in our lounge chairs wearing diapers. And we're never going to get up. We're going to become 900-pound gorillas. How about we start having conversations? How about
Mhm.
we start because with AI, let me put it this way: with AI, it's just computer code. It
Yeah.
doesn't know if you're sad unless you tell it it's sad. But if I look at you and I see you're sad because I'm a human and you're a
Mhm.
human, I'm like, hey, what's going on? AI doesn't have any clue on that. It may get there, but right now, if you're just typing words or you're just speaking into AI, it doesn't know how you're feeling unless you
Mhm.
tell it. But with a human to human connection, I can say, you know what? You look some concerned. You don't look like your usual self. I don't want to ever lose that. I'm 60 years young.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up before there were cell phones, before there were computers and all this stuff. And I see that we're getting away from that one-on-one contact. Everybody wants to do everything on their phone. I'll text you. I'll FaceTime you later. We're talking. We're right now. We're in front of each other. Let's talk right now. People are
Yeah.
losing that. You see it in the stores. How many times have you been in the store and there's a long line at the cash register? People pick up the phones. Why?
That's right.
Have a
Yes.
conversation with the people in line with you. Why do you have to be on your phone?
Yeah. I mean, you're right, actually. I've not seen a lot of, I mean, we used to have stories about people meeting in, I don't know, supermarkets or out on the road and having this random conversation, right? While waiting for a bus or waiting for a cab, something of that sort. And you used to strike conversations, know about different people, right? I mean, some children were not supposed to do it because safety reasons, but then again, as adults, we had that choice, right? To go out and look at somebody, oh, seems interesting, could we strike a conversation or something of that sort. But now you have your phone and you look at it and like, okay, fine, let's just flip this open. Okay, now the next elephant, right, about social media, right? We could probably just go from AI to social media because, yeah, there's so much in common, right? But social media has just been around for a little longer than how AI has been. But then even social media has changed its personality, right? And how people have changed the way they interact. Earlier, it used to be about person to person connections where it was a little more genuine rather than how it is today. So, what's your take on this?
About social media specifically?
Yeah, specifically social media and how people's interaction has changed it and made it more into a distraction and rather than just being it a method of connection.
FOMO is real. The fear of missing out is real.
Hmm.
People have got to know everything that's happening in their neighborhood, with their friends, with their family instantly. I grew up in the late 70s and early 80s. I'm sorry, I was born in 1965. So I don't really count the 60s because I was like less than 5 years old, but
Hmm.
mainly the 70s and early 80s. And you had to wait to the evening news or the paper to come. Now, people are always on social media, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or
Yeah.
X or LinkedIn or YouTube or Snapchat, et cetera, because they got to know what's happening right now when in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't even matter. How many things are we looking at on social media that has no bearing on our lives at all? Because
Yeah.
if something is going on with my family, they're going to call me. They're not going to post it on Facebook. And I think, again, what I said earlier, we're losing touch as humans. I love social media. I love AI, but they are tools. I'm a human being. So when people tell me I am so distracted with social media, I'm so distracted with AI, what can I do? Well, step one, delete the apps from your phone. And they're like, are you serious? Yeah. If you can't get any work done, take the apps off your phone. Now, if it's really bad and you can't get anything done, I've even told people, no one has done this yet. I said, then maybe you need to delete your accounts. And I get this look like, wait, are you serious? If your whole life revolves around social media, revolves around talking to your AI therapist, and you have no human interaction, you just may have to go scorched earth and delete your account
Mhm.
because you need to get back to the human to human connection. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely does. I mean, I've had friends who, in between, obviously go through these phases. Yeah, I'm going into digital detox and I'll delete my, not delete the account, but at least deactivate it and uninstall the app for some period of time. And suddenly they have 3 hours of the day. And last week, my brother was like, I just uninstalled Instagram and I'm like, I have 3 more hours in the day. What do I do with this time? So for somebody who's just doing that, I mean, sometimes people have that discipline. Okay, so if somebody's just found some extra time in the day, what's the first thing that you suggest for them to be doing?
I would encourage them to grab a journal, a print journal,
Uh-huh.
not an app. And if you don't have a journal, don't go out and buy one, get a piece of paper, and just ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish in the next
Mhm.
6 months, the next year, the next 2 years, the next 4 years? Because you cannot decide where you want to go until you know, okay, I'm here. I want to go over here. What do I have to learn to go from A to B? A
Mhm.
lot of people, they just what I call wing it through life. They're just winging it. Like, I hope it all works out. It's not going to work out
Yeah.
because you need to sit down and be quiet and figure out, okay, I'm 25, 35, 45, 55, however old you are. What do I want to do in the coming days, months, and years?
Hmm.
And most people don't do this exercise. I guess they just feel it's just going to be dropped from the sky what they should be doing, but you
Yeah.
need to think about it. Now, I have a whiteboard behind me. I love whiteboarding, getting my little, dry erase markers and brainstorming. But a lot
Yeah.
of people don't do this. They go to AI and they go, "Hey AI, what should I do with my life?" And ask me a bunch of questions. Okay, that's a tool, but
Yeah.
I want you to start with you having some quiet time with a pen, with some paper, not with your phone on. Go someplace quiet, maybe leave your phone behind, and just allow your brain to think because the ideas are probably in your subconscious mind, but all the technology we're surrounded with is just blocking it. So go someplace quiet, a park or something like that, and you sit there for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, and all of a sudden you're going to start getting these ideas like, wow, where'd that come from? It was always there. The problem is you've been spending endless hours on social media. And now, because you've been quiet, you've been writing with a pen and paper, now these ideas are starting to come out.
Hmm. Now that strikes me, right? I mean, whenever I've been stuck in a rut, the first thing I would do is go out and take a walk, right? Just the change in scenario gives you a fresh breath of life when it comes to ideas, right? And that's just from experience. And just today, I was reading this news article that was talking about how phones are actually making people lose track of time, right? They're not able to coherently demarcate events in their life, like this happened after this, and that's just because there's this phone and this application that's breaking the flow of time in their mind, right? And that's one of those reasons where you just lose time when you're doom scrolling through social media or just asking questions away to your favorite AI application.
It's by design. So the first AI, a lot of people don't realize this. I just learned this a couple days ago. The first AI was used by social media. Now, not the first AI, because the algorithm gets to know you really well. This is why TikTok is so addictive.
Hmm.
It gets to know you really quickly, and then it feeds all the videos you want. And that's why you scroll for hours on end because TikTok knows, hey, he likes this kind of videos. We're going to feed video after video after video after video. I don't think Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I don't think their algorithm is as good as TikTok, and I think that's why I call TikTok the anti-productivity app because the algorithm and the AI that runs it is so good. Unless you're super disciplined like me, I can actually be on Facebook, any social media platform, including TikTok, for like 4 or 5 minutes. I get bored. I'd rather go read a book than scroll
Hmm.
on social media. And you need to understand that Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp and Threads, he would not allow his kids to be on his apps.
Yeah.
Think about that. The guy who runs these companies would not allow his children to be on the app. That should cause people to go, what now? But it doesn't. They just keep
Yeah.
scrolling, but he's not on it. And people go, "Well, I see Mark's content on there all the time." He ain't posting it. He's got a team that posts it because he knows that these apps melt your brain and it's a waste
Hmm.
of time. And people
Yeah.
need to understand that. So whenever you're doom scrolling on social media, understand that the leaders of these companies are probably not using the app at all.
Okay, now from skeptic perspective, right? What do you want to say about all the productivity information that you get on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or on Instagram, and people like to learn so much from the content that is. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who say it, right? I get to learn a lot of things from the social media apps, and I'm not just doom scrolling on irrelevant content like entertainment or music videos or dance. I'm looking at content where I can just grow myself, something of that sort.
There is a big difference between scrolling on your favorite social media app, looking for how to be more productive,
Hmm.
and then actually implementing. Because what happens is you watch one video, that's a great idea. Next video, that's a great idea. Next video, that's a great idea. But you're not implementing anything. You're just getting all these great ideas. What I would say, if you're scrolling on any social media platform and you hear a tip, productivity or something else that strikes you, stop watching, get off that social media platform, and then start doing what you just learned. See,
Uh-huh.
there's a gap. There is a disconnect.
Yes, that's right.
People scroll, 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 learn, 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 but where's the implementation? You've got to learn.
Yeah.
You can scroll all day on TikTok and learn how to blow up your TikTok channel. Okay, have you created in videos? Well, no. So why do you're learning all these things, but you're not implementing it? And it's just like reading a book. I tell people if you go out and buy a book and you read the book and you put the book back in your bookshelf and you don't implement it, you wasted your time and you wasted your money. Because
Yeah.
why would you buy a book? Now, I'm not talking about novels. I'm talking about books that can help you. Why would you waste your time and money on a book if you're not going to implement it? And same
Yeah.
with social media. It's great to go on TikTok or any other social media platform and
Mhm.
learn things. But what happens is you're piling up all the knowledge you're learning. But if you're not implementing it, it's just going to be evaporating from your brain.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that hits me a lot. I mean, I'm pained by hearing that because I am guilty of doing that. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to doing something on the other side. So yeah, I'll surely do that the next time over. So Mark, from your experience, right, working with so many people. Okay, first I want to ask, how many people have you worked with? How many people? I think you're called Mr. Productivity, right? So, how many people call you that, if I can ask that?
It's a hard question to answer, and I'll tell you why. Because you have direct clients, you
Hmm.
have people who listen to my podcast, the Mr. Productivity podcast. You have people who consume my content in social media. You have people who subscribe to my email newsletter. So I don't know how many people I've actually touched. And anybody that can give you a definitive answer, I don't think they're telling the truth. Because with social media, your messages are being sent everywhere. And someone could see one of my videos, forward it to a friend, who forwards it to a friend, who forwards to a friend. I'll never know about those other connections. So I don't worry about how many people I'm affecting or how many downloads or how many followers, how many subscribers. All I care about when someone consumes my content, am I helping them? Are they better as a result of watching or consuming my content than before? If they are, then I count that as a win, even if I never know that I helped that person.
That's the thing, right? I'm being selfless about the content that you're making because you know it creates value, and as long as it adds value to somebody's life, that's all that you want, right? Because that's what you're making content for. Okay,
Yep.
so thank you so much, Mark. I mean, this has been a very interesting conversation. First, it's been fast. It's been interesting. We've talked about two very happening topics, AI and social media. So I don't know how much to thank you, but then. Before I close, how can people get in touch with you and know more about you?
One place, just go to MrProductivity.com, MISTER, MrProductivity.com. You can take my free 10 question productivity scorecard right there at the top of the page. It's totally free. I'll tell you how you answer 10 questions, I'll give you your score. And you can follow the Mr. Productivity podcast there, read my blog, sign up for my email newsletter. Everything you want to know about me, MrProductivity.com.
Okay. Last question. Why did you come up with this name? How were you the first to come up with this? Because I'm sure there must have been a lot of takers for that particular website, right, Mr. Productivity?
Actually, no. So several years ago, somebody on LinkedIn replied to one of my posts and said, hashtag Mr. Productivity. I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. And I'm like, I didn't know what the etiquette was. So I said, can I use this? And they go, yeah, sure. So I went and paid for the trademark of Mr. Productivity and then I started branding. Now, I always got to be careful to tell people it's not MR productivity, it's MISTER because MR productivity is taken. So that's why I went with MISTER, Mr. Productivity. spelled out. But yeah, somebody else gave me that moniker. I didn't come up with it myself. Someone else gave it to me. And I think that's how most nicknames come. Somebody else sees something in you and they say, hey, you might want to start using this.
Thank you so much, Mark. Means a lot. Hopefully, you liked talking to me today, and yeah, the audience surely will take a lot from this conversation. So, to the audience who's been watching and listening intently, if you liked what we talked about, do leave a like. The comment section is open for questions, perspectives, any suggestions, or if you want to add to this conversation. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe before you close the window itself. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you.